Our project 1.2.html template is broken up into three main sections. Section 1 is global variables, Section 2 is initialization, and Section 3 is the main loop. Let's take a look at each of these. The global variables section contains all of the variables we will be using in this code. The first three variables are declared without any initialization. The second three variables are declared and initialized. All six of these variables are considered global variables. That is to say, they are not written within the scope of a particular function. As global variables, they are accessible at any point within our JavaScript code. Moving down to the initialization section, we see a function called init. Notice that init is not called anywhere within our JavaScript code. If we go to the bottom of our HTML document, we see that init is actually called in the body tag of our HTML. The function will be run as soon as the body tag is read by the computer. It is also important to understand that the initialization function runs only once when the original HTML code is loaded into the browser. Note that the three variables that were not initialized at the beginning of the program are initialized here. The first line of the init function takes the variable myStage and assigns it a new instance of a CreateJS stage object. Anytime we see the prefix CreateJS, it tells us we are dealing with an object from the CreateJS library. Notice that stage is written in upper camel case. By convention, upper camel case is reserved for naming special objects known as classes. CreateJS stage objects require an HTML canvas element for their construction. This section of the code passes our canvas known as myCanvas to the stage constructor. Once the variable myStage has been filled with the new CreateJS.stage object, we can use the properties associated with stage objects to assign values to our remaining two empty variables. If we skip over the comments, we can see that we add another CreateJS object known as a ticker. A CreateJS ticker functions essentially as a clock. It generates events known as ticks according to the frame rate set in the line of code below. Our CreateJS ticker will tick 24 times per second. Every time our ticker ticks, it will call the function drawNewFrame. drawNewFrame is defined in the third section, the main loop. Our drawNewFrame function will be called 24 times a second. Each time it is called, it will call the myStage.update function. Update is a function defined in the CreateJS library under the stage class. Now that we understand each of our code sections, we're ready to start placing our assets on the stage. To do this, we'll need to declare them as global variables. Once we've declared our global variables, we can initialize them in the init function below. We'll use the examples provided in the comments section to initialize our variables here in the init function. We will fill each of our variables with a new instance of the CreateJS bitmap. Each bitmap takes a unique image path. Once we've written our code, we're ready to save it and test it. Notice how our images load nicely but are then obscured by the background. This is because we need to change the order in which we add our assets to the stage. If we move our background so that it loads before the hero and the targets, we'll be in good shape. Now that your code is working, you can go back into it and make adjustments to the positions of your targets and hero. Once your project is looking exactly the way you want it, you're ready to turn it in. We'll go back to the Moodle site to look up the instructions for good old CyberDuck.